The sound of laughter echoed from the back of the bamboo lounge. Cigarette smoke hung thick, wrapping around the gold-trimmed mirrors and cheap red vinyl booths like a ghost that refused to leave. Tommy DeSimone sat at a corner table, his tie loose, his grin wide but dangerous. He was small, wiry, always moving, like a live wire that might burn you if you got too close. Jimmy Conway leaned back, watching him with an amused smirk, a man who knew better than to tell Tommy to calm down. Nobody told Tommy anything. Not twice, anyway. A new kid, barely 20, was trying to impress them. He'd been doing small runs for Polly, envelopes, pickups, deliveries, and tonight he'd been invited to sit with the big boys. Tommy didn't like the way he laughed. It was too loud, too forced, and in this world, that meant weakness. You think something's funny? Tommy asked, eyes narrowing. The kid froze, unsure if it was a joke. Jimmy sighed quietly, rubbing his temples. Henry Hill looked down into his drink. No, Tommy, I was just. Just what? Tommy's tone flipped like a coin, playful 1 second, venom the next. You think I'm funny. You think I'm a clown. I amuse you. Everyone froze. The room's air tightened like a rope. It was the kind of silence that came before bad things happened. But then Tommy cracked a smile, and everyone exhaled. The kid laughed nervously, thinking it was all a bit. Tommy slapped his shoulder, laughing too. The tension broke, until Tommy's face went blank again. The next sound was glass shattering. The kid stumbled back, blood streaking down his face. Tommy had smashed a bottle over his head, just to remind everyone who he was. Jimmy didn't move. Henry didn't either. That was Tommy, unpredictable, ruthless, the kind of man who'd shoot you for a joke and buy your mother flowers the next morning. Later that night, as the place emptied, Jimmy and Henry lingered by the bar. He's getting worse, Henry said softly. Jimmy shrugged. That's why he's useful. Fear's a currency. Tommy's got plenty of it. Across the room, Tommy sat alone, staring at the cracked mirror, his reflection fractured into a dozen pieces. He liked it that way. A few months later, the Lufthansa heist changed everything. Millions in untraceable cash, the kind of score that legends are made of. Tommy, Jimmy, Henry, and a handful of trusted men pulled it off in the freezing dark of December, 1978. They were ghosts that night, shadows moving through JFK's cargo terminal. Guns low, hearts high, timing perfect. Afterward, everyone was supposed to lay low. No cars, no jewelry, no sudden wealth. But greed made men stupid. And Tommy had never been good at quiet. The paranoia started quickly. Guys were disappearing. One by one, anyone who couldn't keep their mouth shut, anyone who looked too confident, gone. Tommy didn't lose sleep over it. Killing was part of business, and business was booming. But Tommy had his own ambitions. He wanted to be a made man, officially inducted into the Lucchese family. He'd been earning, collecting, enforcing. He'd shed blood for Polly, for Jimmy, for anyone who asked. He thought it was his turn. Jimmy told him it was coming. They're gonna make you, kid, he said one night in a Queen's bar, whiskey in hand. You earned it. You'll wear that pin, and no one'll ever touch you again. Tommy smiled like a boy promised his first car. About time, he said. You know what that means, Jimmy. Means respect. Means nobody can ever tell me nothing again. But respect was a ghost too. The morning of the ceremony, Tommy dressed carefully. Gray suit, white shirt, fresh shoes. His wife asked where he was going. Big day, he said. Don't wait up. He kissed her on the cheek and left. The drive was quiet. He hummed an old Sinatra tune, tapping the steering wheel, his nerves buzzing but proud. He thought about his kids, about the years ahead. When he arrived at the small house in Brooklyn, 2 men were waiting by the door. He recognized one of them, old friend from the neighborhood. That made him relax. Right this way, Tommy, the man said. Tommy walked inside, shoulders straight, expecting candles, holy cards, the ritual of blood and loyalty. What he got was silence. As the door shut behind him, Tommy turned, and for the first time, he looked unsure. Hey, what's going on? The man behind him raised a pistol. 2 shots. Quick, clean. Tommy fell before he even hit the floor. Jimmy waited hours for the phone call that never came. Henry found out later, Tommy wasn't made. He was buried. The bosses hadn't forgotten Billy Bats. Years before, Tommy had beaten a made man to death in a drunken rage, stuffed him in a trunk, and laughed about it. In the mafia, some debts never die. For Jimmy, it was a gut punch. Not just because Tommy was gone, but because he realized how close death always was. One wrong word, one wrong kill, and the same could happen to him. For Henry, it was different. He couldn't stop thinking about that night, the sounds, the blood, the smell of the trunk. Tommy had been a friend, crazy, loyal, dangerous, but a friend. He poured himself another drink, staring at the wall. You live by it, he whispered. You die by it. Outside, snow began to fall, soft, silent, covering everything in white like the world trying to forget. But ghosts don't melt easy. Jimmy sat alone in a diner days later, coffee going cold, staring out the window. The waitress asked if he wanted a refill. He didn't answer. He was thinking about Tommy's laugh, that high, sharp, wild sound that could fill a room and make men sweat. Jimmy missed it. But not enough to say it out loud. Because in their world, feelings got you killed faster than bullets. And somewhere in an unmarked grave, under dirt and silence, Tommy DeSimone, the ruthless, the reckless, the one who couldn't be told, was still laughing.